Hello, my sweet, sweet doll faces. Welcome to another podcast episode. I'm going to call this one The Real Housewife of Lexington. I'm going to be sharing some brutally honest and tough love relationship advice, all very unsolicited. Well, that's not entirely true. Sometimes I get questions about this sort of thing. So, we have a special guest. We have Lily here. She's gonna sleep and be a good girl and not bark. Yes. And not eat mommy's things. So, I'm just gonna jump right into it. Let's start off whether you are single or brokenhearted and you just are feeling down and need some encouragement. This is what I did. Watch like your favorite romantic movies. Like just, you can bawl your eyes out, let it all out, like let your heart ache, but think about like all the good things that you can have and that you want, and kind of just like, you know, start thinking of the ideal life you want with your ideal partner. And that is going to help so much with like not settling and everything. And just like once you kind of get the idea of like your ideal life and your ideal partner, and you know and believe wholeheartedly that you're going to find your soulmate, it's going to come together. In what timing? I have no idea. Me and Carter have been together forever. We were very, very young. We've actually known each other since middle school. We grew up in the same town. We did not start dating in middle school, but we did start dating when we were in high school. Carter was literally 16. The week we started dating, technically he turned 17, but I like to tell people that when we've been together since he was 16, because it's right, it's correct, it's the truth. And that is a lot of learning along the way, let me tell you. But also, like, yes, I was young, I have these ideals, I have this ideal life, and we are very blessed because even from a young age, we both wanted the same things out of life. And we're both very, very similar in all the things that matter, and very, very different in also all the things that matter. Like, he's just always wanted to be a husband, you know, like his mom, you know, would always say, like, you know, he always wanted a girlfriend even when he was like a toddler. Like, he always liked the girls, but he always just like wanted to be the responsible man and like have a family and be the provider and the guy that got stuff done. And I as corny as it is, I really love like the traditional, like, I love being a trophy wife and a housewife. Mind you, I still do have a job, and I still have my creative outlet with all of my social media. And I actually, the year we were about to get married, like that few months, I was like, I can be a trophy wife now. I don't have to go to work. I don't have to have a job. And so I didn't, and actually it was really boring and not great for my mental health. I thought like I just wanted to, you know, like do just like whatever I want, not have to go to a job. Mind you, it was in the middle of COVID, and we lived in a 400 square foot apartment for 2 years together, also in the middle of COVID. But let me tell you, living in that close quarters with someone obviously is going to make or break you, and that made us really deal with a lot of our stuff. Anyways, going on a tangent, but I love coming home and like cooking dinner, and like I love having the dog, and there's a lot of things about us that are not very like traditional and conventional, but like your ideals are your ideals. If you want to be, you know, career driven, whether your partner like does the cooking or the cleaning, or you hire someone to do the cooking or the cleaning, or you have meal delivery, like there's not one size fits all, and don't compare yourself to anyone else, because all that matters is your happiness, you and your partner's happiness. So don't think that you have to go be out be like a career-driven person. Don't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be so judged if I want to be like a housewife, like, and domestic and shit. Like, it doesn't matter. You can do all of those things. You can have it all. You can. Anyways, going off on tangents. Okay, I have like little notes right here, so if you're doing the visual podcast experience, I'm looking at my notes. No one is perfect, and you're going to learn to accept each other in the flow of hard moments. So yes, you've got this ideal picture, and you want to both communicate your ideal life, your ideal partner, and who you want to be as a partner, and you've got to hold each other accountable. You know what I mean? So, like, growing up, I mean, I have an amazing family, but, you know, I watched my parents struggle in their marriage, and I knew how I did not want to handle things, and there was a time where I was starting to act like that and, like, do that, and I had this wrong mental space about it, and like, I would tell Carter, like, so, like, I'm self-aware, I see that I'm doing this, try to help me. You know, like, I'm gonna, obviously, like, it's something that I'm gonna have to do and control myself over, and not drive away to end the conversation or something. But, you know, like, help me be aware of it if I'm not already aware of it, and, like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain now that I'm trying to explain it, because it kind of only makes sense in the moment. But like, you come up with the ideal person that you want to be in yourself and as a partner, and vice versa, and you just got to communicate that and help hold each other accountable. And also, in the moment, you might be mad, and if your partner's like, you're not acting like you want to act, you know, like, no one's perfect, you're gonna get mad, you're gonna, you know, have disagreements and not get along all the time perfectly, but you just kind of have to move past that. I used to have this mental, like, I was in the wrong headspace for certain things, like, and some of it comes with maturity because we were so young, but I would be terrified of confrontation. And also, it kind of came from this place of immaturity where I was like, well, if he gets mad at me, he could just break up with me. You know, not that that was ever something either of us did, but in my head I was like, well, he could break up with me. And then even sometimes I would be like, I'm so mad right now. Oh, I would think this. I would be like, he has no idea how good he has it. Like, if I left, he would be so lost, you know, and I would think that. And of course he would. If he left, I would be lost. Like, you know, we've built up such a life together, and we've built up such this partnership and this team where, yes, we rely heavily on each other for, you know, so many things that you wouldn't even realize because it's just part of our life now. And so I finally got out of that mental space where I was, one, afraid that he would do that to me, and two, where that's not fair for me to think those thoughts whenever I don't want to be treated like that. And it goes back to the golden rule, treat others the way you want to be treated. And it goes back to, no one's perfect, and sometimes you're going to fuck up, and you just have to ask for forgiveness and, you know, move on from there. So communication and confrontation are key. And I don't mean like aggressive confrontation necessarily. Like, it's typically not necessary. Even when it's scary, and I know how scary it is, and it's going to stay scary, you know, that's why you just keep talking about it and keep communicating and keep communicating and confronting, even if it's the same thing over and over and you feel like you're insane and you're going, like, we've already talked about this, why is this still an issue? You don't stop talking about it until it's resolved. And even sometimes if it's resolved, you just never have to stop talking about one single subject, especially if it's not been resolved. Which was something that we've dealt with. And one thing that we've been together for 8 years. And we're still not perfect, but we've gotten a lot better, and we know each other really well, and we know how to communicate a lot better now. And I used to be such a crier. I'm still such a crier, but it would like, sometimes I was like so scared and I couldn't like say all the words I was thinking in my head, or I was just so upset that I was crying and I couldn't even think straight, you know? And so it sounds silly, but it's not. It totally works. I will take my phone, I'll get on my notes, and I'll get everything out of my head into notes, whether it be bullet points, like, so if I need him to sit next to me and I'm like reading it off and not even looking at him, but I'm reading it because I feel like I need to communicate it, then that is great. Sometimes I will literally write out like a script and be like, word for word, this is what I'm feeling. And sometimes I will literally just hand it to him to read it. So he knows everything that I'm feeling and thinking, and he's reading it in words, not me crying and snotting and forgetting what I was about to say. And that's something that's like really helped us. And yeah, like whatever works for you guys. And sometimes, yeah, maybe you do need to walk away from a situation and an argument to clear your head and think and, you know, get your thoughts all in order and together, and whether you write them down or not. But that's something that's helped me. And he knows now that like if I kind of like shut down and just literally will not speak, even though it drives him crazy, he knows that like I'm formulating and thinking and like I'm gonna come back to it. Or like I'm not like dropping the conversation. I never just drop the conversation, but like sometimes like I might need to come back to it in 2 hours and, you know, formulate my thoughts and be like, here you go, this is what I'm thinking, take my notes, or like text it to him, whatever. But be ready to like communicate right there and then too, once he's read my thoughts. You have to, yes, while you are communicating and saying what you feel and why you're unhappy or what you are happy about, you have to also be able to reciprocate communication. And if they have a problem with you, something that they need you to work on yourself with, you have to be able to mold into, you know, you have like, it's not like, okay, yes, I will stop doing this. Like it might be like a constant thing you have to work on, but you also have to be aware that it's not one-sided. You're also molding into this partner for your partner's ideals as well. Because it's not like, I hate that. Okay, here's something that's never bothered me, is him leaving the toilet seat up. Because like, I know that's like an argument for some people. Why is, I don't sit down and pee and then put the toilet seat up for him, you know? So it's like, why is that, I guess that's not even related. Why is that a thing? Why does it bother people so much whether the toilet seat is up or down? Because it's not inconsiderate of me to not put it up. It's just like, it is what it is. We pee differently. We, in our relationship, are he is my best friend. I'm his best friend. I know everyone's relationship is not like this, and that's okay. But for us, we are best friends, and sometimes the way that we handle things even reminds me of like how me and my siblings handle things. We're just family. He is my family. And sometimes like we're immature. I remember on our honeymoon, we would disagree about something, and literally in my head, I would be like, this idiot, like, I'm older than him. What does he even know? I'm older. I'm the older one. I know. Silly things like that. But like, you have to remember you are a team no matter what. And so it's not you versus each other. It's typically you versus the problem. Okay, enough relationship advice, like general relationship advice for this one. I do want to talk about rings, proposals, marriage, or wedding, and then marriage, I guess. So, I am bougie. I like the expensive things in life. I love bling. And when we were talking about, you know, we knew from literally high school that we wanted to get married. And we definitely, I definitely am, you know, fancy and bougie and had an idea of the ring that I wanted. And I also, we were young, he was still in college. We knew, you know, that like, he can't just like, you know, afford the craziest giant ring. So I did tons and tons of research and found this gorgeous, huge cushion cut halo ring, and it was made of moissanite. It's made in Hawaii from this little mom and pop shop. I've talked about it before, and I just told, like, we've always communicated that like I wanted a specific ring. I didn't want to be surprised with the ring because I wanted it to be what I wanted, and I was, you know, like, this is my one piece of jewelry that I'm gonna have forever and ever, and I'm gonna wear it every day. It's gotta be something that I love. And if you are all about surprises, by all means, that's fine. Like, that's what, just communicate with your partner. I literally sent him the link. I was like, here you go. And I like went to like a store in the mall and was like, I need to figure out what size ring I am, and or what size ring I am, and like gave him that information. And because it was really important to him to surprise me with the proposal, like when it was happening, location, all of those things. And that wasn't my thing. I didn't want to control the proposal. I didn't want to control when it happened. I was just like, because I'm impatient and nosy as shit, I just wanted to know when the year and the season, so I wouldn't like accidentally ruin it and I wouldn't be annoying. And so, you know, he was like, okay, it'll happen this year in the spring, I think is what he said. And so I was like, okay, expectation, you know, that is a great example of our communication, because he wanted it to be such a surprise that at this point he had actually already bought the ring, and he had had this ring for like a few months, I think, actually, before he wasn't really sure where the proposal was going to happen yet. And if you want to see and hear about our proposal story, that's on my YouTube channel. But it was really important for me to have the exact ring I wanted, but it was really important for him to, you know, have control over the proposal, when and where it happened, and that I was surprised. And so that's what happened. Flash forward a year into being married, and we're still on rings, BT dubs. I found this ring on, I think it's called Objects Jewelry now, and I get compliments on my ring all the time. It is either sterling silver or platinum, and I think it's not even moissanite. I think it's cubic zirconia. Who the fuck cares whether it is a diamond or not? Because I would much rather have this giant rock on my finger than a teeny tiny real diamond that costs even more. This was under $100. So something that I have like been talking to people about is like, it doesn't have to be real. Who the fuck cares how much it costs? You know, if you want something big and bougie, just like find a good quality metal that has, you know, like the look you want. I have both rings, my original engagement ring and this one, and I wear them interchangeably. And I'm actually to the point now, I just sent him a link to a bunch of other rings that I want, and I was like, here you go, like, I'd love to be surprised with these sometime in the future. And then because I was like, there are no rules. This, like, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll have like an array of different rings to choose from for the mood I'm in for whatever day. And like, that's just me, that's who I am, that's my personality. So like, there are no rules to say that like you have to have this one thing, or like every 5 years you get a new ring, or like adjust to it. You can have options too. That's just a little tip if you can't decide and want a bunch of bougie options. Just look on Objects Jewelry, and they have incredible pieces. And yeah, just sent Carter some links. That's another thing, okay? your partner cannot read your mind. You can't you can't be mad at them for not knowing your thoughts when you're not communicating them. So like, I remember I was getting annoyed that like we would pass by flowers and he wouldn't buy me flowers without me saying anything. I was like, well, he's not very thoughtful. So you know what I did? I just tell him when I want flowers now, and then I get flowers. We enjoy flowers. Like, just tell your partner what you want. And if you're like, I would like to be spontaneous, like, I would like you to spontaneously bring me home flowers sometimes, tell them to put it in their reminder, you know, like make a reminder on their phone, put it on their calendar where you don't know, where you don't see, like that sort of thing. Okay, wedding. Growing up, always was like, I have my ideal wedding in mind. I was always that little girl that was like, I want the dress, I want all the things, I want this and that. And I am so blessed we are so blessed that our families paid for like most of the wedding and everything. But I would never suggest going into debt if you want all of these things. There are ways around, you know, like there's ways to make the things you want a priority and everything. Like, I wanted fake flowers, one, because they're less expensive, and two, because I wanted to keep those things forever. I have these gorgeous fake pink peonies in flower boxes that were literally my bridesmaids' bouquets, and now they're decorations around my house. They're for me specifically, as a content creator and an influencer, I have them in the background of, you know, every little thing, and they say Fifield Flowers & Co. because that's our last name. Like, if things like that you're going to be able to keep forever as a memento, and like it goes into our lifestyle, you know, of my content creating and everything. So that was a little thing. I really wanted the Carrie Bradshaw wedding dress, and I was going to go get it custom made and spend thousands of dollars on it. And I ended up just having a really bad experience with that designer. She was actually just kind of like really nasty and was honestly so disrespectful to my fiance at the time, and that didn't go well. And I ended up going to a local bridal boutique and found a dress very similar to what I wanted. And because I'm Carrie Bradshaw and Sex and the City obsessed, I actually got on SJP's online boutique and bought the silk gold flower pin and put that on my left boob, my right boob, whatever. And then it like elevated my dress to exactly what I wanted. And then it was like this unique thing. And you just have to think of the details that are most important to you. And it's just about you and your day. And I feel so annoyed that I'm even saying this, but like if I went back and knew the things I knew now, the videographer and the photographer were the things that captured the day, that were like the memorabilia of the day and how we can go and look back at it. And those are the things that I'm like so thankful for. And I wanted to be downtown Lexington. I wanted to have most of our pictures like in this like urban setting. And if I went back now, I would have had just done my vows out. I would have had us have our ceremony just in the middle of the street, you know, like not in the middle of the street, but like, you know, just like down there without paying for a venue. But at the same time, I am glad that we did have a venue and we got it catered and by like a local barbecue place, because it was cost effective and they had good food, and there are so many different food allergies and this and that, and I could eat something with protein without having to have dairy because, you know, my allergies or whatever. And like, don't go into debt over a wedding. Don't feel like you have to have the best and the fanciest of everything, because it's just like most of the things like centerpieces and stuff we didn't worry about. We had tablecloths that were provided by the venue, and the tables and the chairs, like I didn't care too much about like chair backings. There were just a lot of details that nobody was even gonna care about, that I didn't even really care about. And that, like, obviously, like, I was like, I'm not gonna pay for something that's, like, not that big of a deal to any of us, and, like, who's gonna remember the centerpiece, you know what I mean? If that's something that's important to you and that you can afford, then do it, but, like, you just have to kind of think, like, details and stuff. And spending that much money on a wedding was, like, gut-wrenching to Carter, and that was just something that I was like, oh, it's, like, not even as extravagant as I would have thought it would have been, you know? Like, it was the perfect compromise, and I would not call our wedding a compromise. It was us, and it was very perfect. Okay, so this place is all over the place, but it's fine. One thing I wanted to touch on was, I'm not a modest person at all. It honestly was forced upon me when I was younger, and it's disgusting to me or whatever. And we lived in a studio apartment on the second floor, and we had 2 windows in there, and people from across the apartment could technically see into ours. We could technically see into theirs. And that's whenever, like, it kind of occurred to me that Carter would, like, close the blinds or close the curtains whenever, anytime I got naked to get in the shower, or just, like, wanted to walk around naked. And I was like, why are you doing that? He's like, well, because you're naked. And I was like, it was such an interesting thing that was bothering both of us, because I was like, well, don't do that. He was like, you want the neighbors to see you? I was like, I don't care. But it was bothering me more that he felt like it was his choice for me to, like, not be seen. And that was something that we kind of had a few conversations about, and now, you know, he was like, oh, like, I just thought your body was, like, just for me to see, which, like, yes, in, like, intimate situations and stuff, but I was like, but it's actually my body, and I get to do with it what I want. And he was like, yeah, you're totally right. And in the same context, like, now that we're, like, whenever he was, you know, getting in and out of the shower, being naked, I respected that he didn't want to be viewed publicly, and would close the blinds and close the curtains, or, like, if he would, and, like, I wouldn't, like, open them, like, why do you care? Like, why would you even care? Or, like, even now we have a house, and privately in our own home, like, our back window that, like, our bedroom window that, like, backs up to our backyard, like, he likes to close the curtains whenever we're, like, having sex and stuff, and I'm like, I respect it. Like, it's your body, like, I'm not going to force you to do something that you wouldn't want to do either. So, just mutual respect. It's kind of all I've got for today. I'm sure there's so many other things that I could touch on, but that was my Real Housewife of Lexington Unsolicited Advice Edition, Relationship Advice Edition, I guess. So, I hope I was helpful with something, or at the very least entertaining. Bye, dolls.